I'm alive. Listening to our music in the background, thanks to Chris. Hi everyone, welcome to the Polygon Forest. I am Ubisoft concept artist Vin Hill, and I am joined as ever by the indie developer, Mr. Christopher Jarvis.
Hello.
Hello, and so we're on episode 29. Why are we still listening to music in the background, Chris?
Sorry, I just wanted to check we were live.
Yeah,
and
we
I
are
could
live.
hear the audio.
We're
and
live,
now we
we're
can,
fine, we're
so
good.
it's fine.
We're all good.
All right. I was just freaking out. Okay. So
Stop freaking out.
Good day.
We're fine.
It's a good day today. Okay.
Anyway, yeah, we're going to talk about some Sony stuff, as well as there's been some news out of Rockstar regarding Grand Theft Auto. We're going to talk about that, and there's other little bits that we're going to float around. But first,
Yeah.
Chris.
Yes.
Yeah, before I should say that, everyone, please like and subscribe. Like, it actually really
like
helps
and
us
subscribe.
out. Like, we're almost at
Definitely.
100 subscribers now, which is like a massive
we?
milestone for us. Yeah, we're at like 90, I
Really?
think. Yeah.
Wow. Come on, get those subs in, and we get up to 100, and we'll have a party.
We'll have 100 subs party because we definitely
100
don't
subs
get a
party.
I don't even think we get a sticker from YouTube for that, so it's okay.
No.
We'll get over it. It's progress. It's progress. We're moving forward. That's all that matters.
Yeah. It's more people than I know, so you know.
Yeah, that's true. 100 people in the room listening to us ramble about crap is pretty impressive.
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah.
But anyway, before we carry on with any of that, Chris, what have you been playing, man?
I have been playing a few different bits and bobs. It's been an interesting week.
Okay.
I managed to get myself an Xbox Series X.
Good man. Like, finally, you joined the next gen club. Welcome to the party.
Join the next gen club. It's been a long time.
Yeah.
It's been a long time. So I have been just downloading lots of stuff. I got a code from Alexander at Bithell Games, who gave me a code for Solitaire Conspiracy.
Very cool.
Which is really cool. So shout out, thank you very much. So I've been playing that while everything else has been downloading. So I've signed up to Game Pass. So I've been signed up to Game Pass, and I've downloaded Forza 4. I've downloaded Flight Sim, Microsoft Flight Sim. Been playing Solitaire Conspiracy. Really love that game. It's an awesome game, which I'm really surprised about. And Hellblade as well. I've been downloading that. That's gonna be the first one.
Hellblade is a great game. It's a great game. You'll really enjoy it.
So it's sort of been remastered or tweaked, or I don't know, something for the new series of consoles. So I've downloaded that. So I'm looking forward to that. It's won lots of awards, isn't it? Which I didn't realise.
Yeah, there's a lot of to do
BAFTAs.
with mental health and stuff, and not like the sort of. It's sort of a buzzword these days, unfortunately, but it's not like the sort of normal mental health of like normal mental health. Like, it's
Like
dancing
well-being.
around this, but like the thing that we hear about the most is like depression and anxiety and stuff like that. But this is like deep mental health in terms of like psychosis, and she hears voices in her head and stuff. You play that game with headphones on, like in particular, like it's really it's a really interesting experience, just purely because like you'll hear one voice in the back of your head, like from one side, and then you hear another one, and they're all fighting with each other in your head while you're like trying to listen to Senua while she's trying to get through this world, and just having that, it messes you up a little bit. But yeah, I need to replay that game before the second one comes out, because that's in development. But really impressive game. You should enjoy it.
Just wanted to say about Solitaire Conspiracy. I've never played Solitaire in my life. And so playing that game, I was like, how am I going to enjoy it? Is it going to be good? Is it going to be bad? It's got Greg Miller in as like the narrator.
Okay.
So that sets the tone, I think. I think he does a great job of setting the Greg Miller tone.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, that's fine. It's great. I've got no problems with it at all. As a card game it's got the polish of a Bithell game. It's really well polished. The sound's really great. UI is really great. The tutorials are just good enough to get me hooked. So I'm definitely hooked on a card game now, which is weird. But it's just like the first game I'm playing.
Right. So it's like old school sort of Solitaire, like on Windows 95 PC style stuff, or is it?
No, it's like 4K, high definition.
Well, yeah, of course, but
gradients everywhere.
But do you actually play Solitaire? Or is that the?
It's sort of, but you've got like power-ups, like different classes of cards have different abilities. So it's kind of like Solitaire, I think, but some cards do special moves basically.
Okay.
And that can, but it's not always good. It can mess you up. So you can play with like regular campaign where you can do it with as many turns as you like, move cards around as many times as you like, or you can play it in like hard mode, which is like you've got to get this done within X amount of turns. So you got to use your special abilities in the right order and sparingly and stuff like that. You can do it properly. But because it's my first go, I'm not sure if that is real solitaire or fake solitaire, or I have no idea.
You've never played solitaire before?
Never played solitaire before, so I have no idea.
God, that's wild. Yeah, I mean,
I was always
everyone playing, right? Everyone either was playing. I think it was Windows 98. I think that was the
98
the hardcore sort of solitaire scene. That was because all you
or Minesweeper,
or Solitaire, they were the two.
Yeah, I was more of a Minesweeper guy, but yeah, that was 97, wasn't it? 97, Windows 97.
Yeah.
So I've been playing that, but also with my kids, I've been playing on it last week. Now even just today actually, or yesterday, on the PS4, I was playing Adventure Time, Pirates of the Enchiridion.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know if you know the Adventure Time, the Cartoon Network.
I've never watched it. Network. Like people always say really, really good things about it, but I've never gotten around to like even checking out a single episode of it.
Oh, it's awesome! Absolutely love it. It's brilliant. It's like, this is not the podcast to talk about cartoons or TV shows, but
right, of course. But what's the game like? I guess.
So the game is like a really solid turn-based RPG with like detective elements, really good turn-based combat, really well balanced RPG. With like the whole idea is that Oo's underwater and you're in a boat and you navigate the different areas by boat, and then you get out of the boat and then you go around the different areas of the map and you fight bosses. But it's all about the story is progressing.
Fascinating.
So if you want a really solid, easy to play, easy to get into, easy to get immersed in roleplay game, that is definitely a one I would recommend. The criticism is it's not as good narratively as any episode of Adventure Time. So it's like the worst Adventure Time episode you would have ever seen.
Right.
In terms of what's happening narratively, or the performances are absolutely fine. It's just at the moment I'm a few hours in now, so I'm like the first quarter of the game through, I think. So I've done several story elements, and none of them just hit as hard as
the actual show.
The actual show does.
Yeah. No,
some of it's a bit janky.
I feel for them guys because, like, I know that's like as a developer anyway. Like working on South Park was a lot like that. Like constantly trying to live up to that standard of the show.
South Park did nail it though, because I played Stick of Truth, and that nailed it. Like it got the funny elements. I never like sat there and laughed my ass off as much as I would do on a South Park episode. Then saying that, I never used to laugh my ass off when I was older. I only ever used to laugh when I was like a teenager. So it's kind of a weird. That's a special thing with that, because it all depends on when you started watching it, I suppose, where you were in your life when you started watching it. But South Park did a really good job of making it feel like an episode that you were just playing, whereas this definitely feels like a video game version of something else.
I guess like it depends if the writers of the show are on it or not, because that's one thing we did have on South Park. We had Trey and Matt on that show, so on that game. I'm even calling it a show. So like
they wrote the game.
They were writing it, so like it was obviously going to be quite close to that, and they did a great job with that. But I'd be curious if Adventure Time do the same thing with this sort of game. Like if because I think it's
who was writing it. Yeah.
Is it owned by Disney? Is that who does Adventure Time or?
Well, it was Cartoon Network, so I don't know who owns it.
I think I remember it being Cartoon Network. I think you're right.
But the developers are like Climax Studios.
Oh, okay. I know who they are. They're a UK-based studio.
Oh, okay. So it wasn't. Well,
yeah.
South Park was Osaka, so it doesn't necessarily mean that it wasn't written by the
developers. Yeah, but the studio that was headlining the South Park game was the San Francisco studio, which is pretty close to where the South Park guys are. But Climax Studios do a lot of outsourcing work, so yeah.
Oh, okay.
A lot of third-party outsourcing work.
Well, yeah, I've not looked into it, but it just doesn't feel as good as an episode at the moment in terms of the things that makes Adventure Time great. But because they're all those lovable characters that I love and I know them like inside out, back to front, when they do the things that they do, that's still bringing me some joy. So I'm still like invested in the game. So I'm definitely going to come, even though I've got my Xbox now, I'm definitely going to come back to the PlayStation to play that Adventure Time game when my kid's around. So definitely going to...
Yeah, it is interesting that you've been swindled into playing an RPG, a turn-based RPG out of nowhere.
Yeah.
It's so funny.
I was expecting like a open world adventure game because it's like got a boat on it, it's pirates. So
it's called Adventure Time.
Well, yeah.
You would have thought.
I was expecting like a hack and slash or a dungeon crawler or something. Especially because that's what they do. They love dungeons and they love fighting monsters in dungeons. That's kind of like their thing. That's what I was expecting.
I thought they would have made like a roguelike or something out of it, maybe.
No, because there'd be like younger audiences getting into it. Saying that, what's the age range for roguelikes? I guess it is pretty young.
Yeah, I mean, you could make a rogue light, so like if you die, then you still keep your progression sort of thing, and then you just start back, and they could do it that way. But I don't know. Yeah, how child friendly could you make a roguelike is definitely a question that someone has to answer one day, I guess.
Kids don't like dying. That's the thing.
That's a sentence.
That's weird, isn't it? Because when you're young, you feel fearless, and in real life, adults will get more scared of death. But in video games, kids hate dying in video games, but adults kind of morbidly are into it.
Yeah, especially with like souls and stuff, right? That is interesting.
Yeah. Okay. Maybe we've stumbled on something really.
I don't know. I mean, like we grew up with games like Castlevania and stuff, and like our games were a lot harder when we were a kid. Like playing Mega Man on the NES, that was for quite.
We're used to dying all the time. Yeah, like the amount of times I died in Sonic and Mario. My God, and Pokemon even saying that. Like.
Yeah, I remember when I was a kid, and I don't think I ever met anyone that actually finished Sonic 1 or 2. Like they just get to a certain point and would die, but they would still enjoy it. Like they'd enjoy the process of it. But
I've completed Sonic 2 a few times back in the day. Same. I have not come anywhere close to doing it since I've been an adult.
Right.
It's just weird. So yeah.
Yeah, it's like I was playing Ghosts and Goblins not long ago, or Ghosts and Ghouls as it is in other parts of the world. That game is fucking impossible, man. Like it's one of the hardest games ever made. Like if you think Souls games are hard, like go try and play that game. And it's got like the biggest troll in the world as well, because when you get to the end of it, they're like, oh, you have to go through the whole game again, like holding this one item. And it's like, what? And that just makes it infinitely more difficult. But I mean, you got your money's worth because you never finished the thing. So it was.
Yeah, that's true.
It kind of worked.
Yeah. Value for money. Yeah. You've never even used it.
Exactly. Different world. Like I can't even imagine how many few people like the. I would love to see the list of the amount of people that have actually seen the credits for Ghosts and Ghouls or Ghosts and Goblins, because I bet it's like 3 people.
Handful of people.
Right?
Yeah.
It's a really hard game.
Or like Super Mario World on the Game Boy. Like, I've seen that like a handful of times, the credits, and I made sure like my eyeballs were like taking in every single pixel.
Yeah.
And the song's different as well at the end. The song's a different song you've never heard before. And so I was just, every time I finish that, it's like ingrained in my memory, because I was like, you've earned this. Like, this is your reward. You will take it all in.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't do that now with games, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, we sort of just like, there's even skip buttons for credits, which I think should be illegal.
Yeah.
Like it should be punishable by death, especially as a developer.
As a dev, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, because that's one thing I do. Like I try and sit down and sit through credits. Like I know that's like a dumb thing to do, but it's sort of like it's a respect thing.
If you're in the industry, you can maybe read a few names of people you know, or people that your acquaintances, or like, oh, I heard they did good this, that, or the other, and yeah, it's kind of different. But like for movies and me, I've got no connection to the movie industry. I'm never gonna know the names except for the director. That's about it, really.
I mean, credit scenes are generally boring anyway, just because like they're normally black screens with white text scrolling by, and it's like whatever, sort of thing. But they make it interesting, I guess. Like it keeps people towards the end. But,
like Eco and Shadow of the Colossus.
There you go.
Yeah.
Good credits.
Yeah, good credits there.
Yeah. It's always nice when there's less people working on it as well, because then it's not 20 minutes of names going by.
That's true.
But
my credit scene in my game is going to be really short.
Chris. That's it.
Everything.
Or you could do like the ultimate troll and just like list out every single like industry job and just put like your name next to them.
Just put my next to everything. Oh no, I probably will actually do that. Yeah, I will do that. Yeah.
Just like sound designer Chris Jarvis, like voice actor Chris Jarvis, music Chris Jarvis.
Yeah. With special thanks to Apple for the iPad.
Right. Which I bought in brackets.
Yeah, which I bought myself.
Yeah.
And my guitars, yeah, because I'll definitely be doing some guitar stuff on it. So yeah.
I guess like the credits thing is like it's all about respect. I guess like in when I was living in Japan, it was really interesting to go to the movie theaters whenever you went to the cinema and a film finished. Like it wasn't uncommon for like people to sit through the credits and clap at the end of a film. Like a large amount of people, Japanese people, just clapping at the end of a film.
You can't do that for a Marvel film though, can you? Because the credits are just a million years long.
Yeah. And they also have like post-credit scenes.
They do some credits, then a post-credit scene, and then they do
more credits.
Yeah, with all like the different studios and houses and stuff that did special effects. Some of them would just have done one scene, but you know, could have had a whole team of people working on one scene.
Yeah.
We kind of got off track, so that's what I've been doing.
Yeah, cool.
So yeah, I'm really happy with my Xbox. What have you been playing?
Yeah, I mean, this week I haven't been playing that much. Weirdly enough, like I was sat here like spinning around on my chair because I was working on my indie game for a while.
Which looks awesome, by the way.
Yeah, you've had a sneak peek of it.
I've had a sneaky peek.
Yep. Well, we mentioned this in the pre-show, but we'll do an episode with. I think we're going to get Sam Webster on. I'm not sure, or like maybe another developer. I'm not, depending who's available. But we might do like a separate playlist or a separate podcast in the same sort of channel. So if you're still interested in it, then please like and subscribe, and you can keep updated on this.
Yeah, if you comment, let us know if that's what you want to see. Mention that in the comments. Yeah, for sure.
We're thinking about doing just an episode dedicated to like updates on our thing. Maybe doing it once a month, just to show, like, just basically keep ourselves accountable, so we're not like drifting off and doing whatever else, which, you know, as people tend to do. We get busy, our lives get weird, and there's too many video games to play.
And Xboxes turn up out of the blue.
Indeed, so, especially when you like go and get them and give people money. Like it's just they just pop out of nowhere.
It tends to happen, doesn't it, when you buy them?
It does tend to happen when you buy them. You're right. But yeah, I mean, outside of like game dev stuff, I was weirdly enough, I was spinning on my chair and I was looking at my shelf, and at the bottom I've got a Super Nintendo Classic Edition.
I can see a Quest there. Oh, right, yeah.
There's Quest up there, but there's also
Quest
my
2.
mini consoles are all in their boxes. And I saw my SNES and I thought, you know what, I kind of want to play Link to the Past. So I pulled it out and started playing Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past. And that's what I've been playing over the last couple of days. I've put about 9 hours into this thing already, but yeah, good times.
You could have got a really big chunk into Mass Effect 2 with 9 hours.
I could have. I really could have. It's funny because like the thing that I was going to mention was constantly seeing people on Twitter talking about like, oh, I finally got a PS5, or like yourself, like I finally got an Xbox Series X, and I'm sat there playing Legend of Zelda on my SNES. Like it's hilarious, but
yeah, this is a weird thing. I had a look, and there isn't that many like, you know, Xbox Series X games out really. That's like that can do the full blown, you know, all bells and whistles. So I think, what's the first proper game that's going to be coming out that I could probably utilize that? Well, there's Call of Duty Vanguard coming out soon, isn't there? But
yeah, oh, you're talking about like proper next gen games, or
yeah, I
guess like Halo 5 would be Halo Infinite would be the next one. That's the big one. The Medium is technically a next gen game. There's a few games to play, man. There's plenty to play. And you've got Game Pass as well. Like you've got so many choices.
Yeah, Forza Horizon 5.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's going to be lots of stuff. But yeah, no, we should probably update as well. Just a little bit of admin, like Elden Ring. That's that we thought that was going to come out later, didn't we?
No, well, we knew it was coming out in January, and that got I think that got delayed to February now. I think it's February 25th or 22nd, one of those. It's in the 20s anyway. But yeah, it got moved to that. But I don't know, like there was a little bit of leaked footage that came out of that. It was only like 10 seconds long or something. Didn't look that hot. It really didn't look that great. Looked very much like the other Souls games, which is kind of disappointing considering when the new generation. But I've only seen 10 seconds of it, so it might look way better on the next gen consoles when the versions actually do come out. But for now, I don't know. But we'll see. I am looking forward to that one just purely because of like the Celtic mythology stuff. I'm pretty sure that game is Celtic. Kind of put money on it at this point.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, I've really not been playing anything other than Zelda, I guess. Which
Zelda.
Every man and his dog knows about. Like if you haven't played this game yet, then how the hell you've dodged it all your life, I'm not so sure. But
Yeah.
There it is. But yeah, I'm about halfway through it. I'm enjoying it. Good times.
Okay. Should we move on to some new stuff then?
Sure, we can indeed. So our main topic, one of the main topics is God of War. Sony, PlayStation had the audacity, the balls, the gall. How dare they put God of War on PlayStation to PC? Sorry,
the nerve
of them. How dare they? But yeah, if you haven't heard, God of War is coming to PC. I think I think it's January. I think it is. Yeah.
Okay.
So they're sort of filling the gap of what Sony has sort of got at the moment. They needed a January game, sort of bringing more sales, I guess. But
yeah, in January. Yeah. What's your thoughts, Vin? Are you happy? Are you sad?
I'm outraged, Chris.
Are you indifferent?
I am outraged. How dare they decide to
good for them?
Put a PlayStation game on PC? No, it's like if you can't sense the sarcasm in my voice, all joking aside, I've got zero problem with this. But apparently, a lot of other people do. Like, there was a huge sort of like blob of people on Twitter and other social media platforms that weren't too happy with this.
Yeah, it's gonna be $50 on Steam. So that's interesting because it would be interesting to see what sort of I mean, not mods or anything, but it'd be like interesting to see what a PC can get out of that game. Like, can it eke out anything else visually?
Mean, technically, it could probably do more than what the PS5 can do, and there is a PS5 patch as well, so you can play it like in pretty much. It looks like this, almost. Yeah. Like it doesn't look too dissimilar from like the way that the game already looks. So, but PC players will mod the hell out of it. They'll tweak it. They'll add stuff to it. They'll do stuff. Or they'll like in 5 years' time when we get a new technology come out that boosts something or anything. Like this will benefit from it, whereas the PS5 will always be stuck at that.
Yeah.
So it's more about the future of God of War more than like what they're doing with it right now. But
yeah, I think it's good. It's I think it shows where Sony want to go. It's where they're moving towards.
Yeah.
Which they kind of need to. They kind of need to get off the hardware as much as possible, because otherwise it's going to get saturated by Microsoft. They're just going to clean up.
Yeah.
And yeah, there's always people that whine and moan and.
Yeah, I guess like the argument is like the reason why people are upset. I don't know, like for the most reasons, like they need to get over themselves for one. But like the reason why they're upset is because I've just bought this PlayStation 5. This is like what the argument is. I bought a PlayStation 5. What is the point of me buying a PlayStation 5 when I can just play these games on PC instead? And it's like, yeah, that's kind of the point.
That's a very good point, actually. Yeah,
that is actually the point. Like the whole point of this is for Sony to
make money.
Yeah, they're trying to remove the barrier of you having to buy a console, and this sort of future proofs that,
Yeah.
So like they sort of answered their own question through their argument, but
there's always X amount of people that get upset when a game goes on sale. They're like they bought it the day before, full price sort of thing, and it's like it's one of those things. It's like, yeah, you can't. Yeah, but so does that mean that no game should ever go on sale ever?
Exactly.
Like, have you never bought a game on sale? That's kind of offset. Think about how many games you bought on sale. That's going to offset, the loss you've taken with that particular game.
Yeah.
And same here, really. Like, you're still gonna people that bought a PlayStation 5, they didn't buy it just to play God of War, did they?
Right. Yeah.
So they'd be playing all the the new games when they come out. They'll be buying those next gen games.
Yeah, I mean,
which won't be.
I would argue for the rest of them as well. Like, you're looking at Forbidden West and you're looking at God of War Ragnarok. Like, if you bought a PlayStation 5 for those, like, you'd probably.
It's probably a safe bet.
It's a safe bet, but like you're not getting anything too much extra than what you're getting on a PS4, because you can play those games on PS4 as well. They're not designed for the PlayStation 5. Sure. So it's sort of people getting angry that they bought a PlayStation 5 and they're getting sad because the argument is that, okay, I bought a PlayStation 5 just to play God of War. That's their argument. It's like, okay, that's a bit of a weird argument, because like they were designed for the PS4. Like, this game was designed for the PS4. So like, shouldn't you have the same sort of anger at the fact that these games have been ported to PlayStation 5?
Yeah.
Because they're not on the original system that they were quote unquote designed for. Like, it's a really fascinating sort of sub conversation in that, but it's hilarious.
It's interesting. We still don't know what the difference is visually between like God of War or Horizon, God of War Ragnarok or Horizon.
We won't know until the games are out and Digital Foundry do a deep dive on it either. And I can imagine they're going to be pretty minimal. But yeah, I mean, the only reason. Yeah, I think so. I mean, because what you normally do when you're working in a game studio anyway, you'll design for the lowest denominator. So, like all the games that are going to come out on all of last gen and current gen systems, you basically design the game for Xbox One base, and then you can port it to all the others. Because if it works on that, then it works on all the others. Which is why this is why I've like usually got a problem. Well, not a problem, but like why I'm like I groan a little bit whenever you see, oh, okay, this game's coming out for the PS4 as well. Like God of War Ragnarok is being designed for the PlayStation 4, and it's getting ported to the PS5. All like the pretty upgrades, like real time reflections and all that sort of stuff. Which it will look great and it'll look better, absolutely. But it's being designed for the PlayStation 4, and that's where normally I groan a little bit. Because like, okay, we're in next gen now. We're a year in. We need some games that are just for this generation to really show what these things can do. But yeah, that's my only sort of gripe. But like these games coming to PC, they're not being hindered by the PC. If anything, they're going to be boosted by it. They're gonna it's no
what
different.
You can get will be more interesting.
It's no different from going to PS4 to PS5, PS4 to PC. Like it's only going up. It's not stepping down at any point. So. Even if this, like, who cares, man? Like, this is good. This is good news because it means that Sony are getting more money. If they're getting more money, that means they're getting more money to greenlight more projects. If they're greenlighting more projects, then all of this is great. Like, this means more gamers coming in. Like, people are enjoying God of War. Like, I don't understand why people are mad about this. It's really strange.
But Halo Infinite's going to be on
PC?
Xbox One.
It's going to be on Xbox One. It's going to be on Series X, and it's also going to be on PC day one. But that's the difference. Like that's the new market which people need to sort of grapple with. Like this whole, we're trying to release on everything all at once, and it doesn't matter what you play on as long as they're not hindering each other, sort of thing. Which I would argue, I would much prefer Halo Infinite to only be on Xbox Series X and PC. Sort of thing, so keep out the old generation to stop it hindering what the game could be. Like it depends on the game, obviously, as well. Like if the scope is very narrow and all that sort of stuff, and it doesn't really affect it too much other than frame rate, then whatever. Like if Halo Infinite plays at 30 FPS on the old consoles, then that's probably not going to have hindered it too much. So it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah.
But this is the market. They want to try and remove the barrier or the gate of like you having to buy a console for whatever amount of money. So this is another step towards that.
Yeah, I guess I'm still in that mode because I still haven't actually seen a 60 FPS on a 4K, HD thing yet. I still haven't.
You're about to, Chris.
Haven't
you're
witnessed
about to.
That yet. Yeah. I know I'm about to. But am I though? What have I downloaded that's 60 FPS? Battlefield 5.
The problem, I mean, you'll learn this in particular because you've got a Series X, but there's frame boost on Series X, which basically takes old games that are 30 FPS and does it on the front end, like actually boosts them up to 60 FPS, which is amazing. Like it works really, really well. Like you play games like Fallout and Skyrim, and they've all just been boosted, and it's great. And you won't even realize the problem with that is in 6 months' time, when a game does come out that is 30 FPS, you're going to look at it and be like, oh, this looks awful. Like, why does it look so terrible? Oh my God, it feels like a slideshow.
I can't move. What's going on?
And it's hard. It's hard to go back. It really is. And we're going to hit this point where, like I was groaning about it before, we're going to hit this point where it is just next-gen only games coming out, and they're going to be pushing these hardware to the point that, okay, only 30 FPS games are coming out now, and we're going to have to, like, readjust to 30 FPS again. Because we're never going to, because the only reason why all the games are 60 FPS is because they were from last gen and boosting them for the next gen sort of thing. And that's why we get to play them at 60 FPS. But very seldom are we going to play next gen only 60 FPS games. That's just not how it's going to work. But yeah.
Do you reckon?
I think so. I think the baseline will go back to 30.
That'll be interesting to see. I hope you're wrong. for obvious reasons.
Yeah, I mean, people love 60 FPS. I get it, but at the same time, like I got really used to 30 FPS in the last gen, and I was very happy for it. I was fine. Like,
yeah, I was totally used to it. It like there was no problems I had with 30 FPS. Like playing all those, getting my, later on in the consoles, getting PS4 Pro and playing stuff. I have no problems at all. So it's gonna be an interesting transition to see how good it is. I'm not sure what frame rate Solitaire Conspiracy is, but
I'm sure it's pretty high.
Not really that sort of game where you probably notice how quickly the cards move from one point to another.
Do you know what FPS your game is, like the one that you're making?
Yeah, I've had a look at the frame rate, and it's like smoking. It's super fast. It's like hundreds of frames.
Yeah, I think mine's at
really,
like
really fast.
250 FPS or something at the moment. It's like, all right,
yeah,
I can push this. Like
it's ridiculous. Yeah, mine's absolutely ridiculous. I'm like, oh, okay, and because I am trying to make it, I'm trying to optimize as I'm going. I'm designing it from an optimized point of view. That's why I did a 2D game in the first place.
Right.
But I've not cranked any of the textures yet, so they're still not in like 8K or anything. But I'm still using like 4K textures, and it's still cranking it through. But I've got a decent PC, so wait and see. Yeah. But yeah, it's not finished. It's not done. It could change later on when
This is true.
But yeah, it's a problem for another time.
But yeah, in general, though, I think all of this is just good news all around. More gamers means good things. It means more money coming into the industry. It means that more PlayStation games are going to get greenlit because they're great games.
Yeah.
So this is. I just do not see this as a bad thing. I can't.
Yeah, it's just the people moaning that are in that situation. If you ask them in general, should more games be cross-platform, they would, most people would say yes.
Yeah,
so
I think so too.
It's just one of those.
It's a very, very vocal sort of minority, as always. But
are these the same people that are moaning about the new GTA Trilogy remaster?
I think so. It's gotta be.
It's the same people.
I think it's gotta be. So yeah, we should probably move on to that. Actually, do you want to?
We can move on to that.
Yeah.
So yes, there's been an announcement trailer for the Grand Theft Auto Remastered Trilogy. So you get GTA, Vice City, San Andreas, and GTA 3. Is it?
Yes. So it's the 3 PlayStation 2 games. Yeah.
Yeah. And so they've been remastered, and I think they've done a good job. I think it looks great. I think it looks exactly like I'd imagine PS2 generation game looking like that's been remastered.
Yeah.
And people are either... So this is the thing. So you got some people that are like, yay, this has happened, it's great, well done. And then you got some people that are like, oh, I can't believe you're happy about this. They should just drop GTA 7. Was it 7?
Yeah.
The next one?
Just drop 6. Sorry,
or is it 6?
Next one, 6, yeah.
Drop GTA 6, like, they're wasting their time. Can't believe you're liking this.
Yeah, like it's actually made by the same studio and all that.
There's that argument going on. And then there's the people that are like, oh, this looks terrible. I'm never going to play this. And I think they're the kids that post PS2 era.
Right.
That's what I'm thinking. They're going, oh, this looks terrible. How do you expect anyone to get involved in this sort of game? Look, it's all blocky and janky, and this is a remaster. I'm not paying. What was it? I think it's going to be $50, $60.
Yeah, it's going to be a full price game for the
full price game. You get three video games, and then you get the other people that are arguing against that, saying, but it's on Games Pass for free, so you're getting a hell of a lot of game time for free.
Yeah, I mean the interesting thing about that in particular is the fact that I think GTA 3 is going on to PlayStation Now, and then GTA San Andreas is going on to Game Pass, and then it's Vice City is the one that you have to buy, or it might be going to another service. I'm not sure. Like it might be like free on PC somewhere, but
separate to the trilogy. But the trilogy's been released, the 3 of them in one, though, isn't it?
No, I don't think it is. That's the interesting thing about it. I think it's like all 3 split, but like you can buy them as a bundle almost. I'm not sure like if there are individual prices or how much they are or whatever, but it's interesting that they sort of split the difference for the like which service was going to get what sort of thing.
I've heard that they've taken out they've taken off you can't buy the originals now.
Right.
they've taken them off stores.
That is a legitimate gripe to me. Like I get that side of the argument. I mean, I don't really care. Like I'm not a GTA fan personally, so like for this game itself, like I'm not too bothered about it directly. But like the ethics of removing like the old version of the game and then only putting the new version on is sort of weird. Like I'd be curious to see like when this game comes out, is there an option to switch back to the old graphics? Because if there is, then cool, no problem with removing the old ones. That's fine.
Yeah.
But it's for games preservation almost. Like I know that argument is like sort of a buzzword these days, but it's it does.
So unless you've got original copy kicking around, an original console kicking around, then you kind of stuff for that. Yeah, that's interesting. I get that. You shouldn't. It's basically forcing people into a corner to spend more money, isn't it?
There's that too. Yeah, the whole like removing it, which I think for the whole trilogy it was relatively cheap. I think you probably get it for like £15 or something for all three of them.
Yeah,
they've sort of removed that option and only put forward like, okay, now you have to spend 60 to do all that sort of stuff. Yeah. Which is, I mean, there's ethics around that as well. But you know, it's the market. This is how companies make money. Like it's not like they've half-assed this. Like as we've sort of like seen, like the game looks great. You know, it looks fantastic. I think they did as good as they could with it. At least.
I think so. I think they did fine. I think it's one of those things where they could have maybe done a bit more. Some people are complaining they get specific screenshots and they're going, "Oh, look at this all warped. You know, this texture is not in the right place. They could have moved these verts over here and made the head less wobbly." And it's like, I think it's diminishing returns though. Right. I think with it's always a fine line when you're coming up to a remaster where it's like you got some things are going to be janky and you can't get around it, so you got to make sure that jank is blended in with the right amount of other jank so that the jankiness is kind of compressed and so there's not many peaks and valleys, so it's kind of like a consistent amount of jank, because then your brain can get lost in it. It's fine. It's just when you have like reflections in puddles and ray tracing and perfect shadows and volumetric light, and then suddenly someone's head looks like they're fallen off. It's just like it breaks the immersion. So I think you need to fine tune the jank, especially with character models and what people look like, because I mean I've seen the argument that the characters look like they're from Pixar movies, from like early Pixar movies and stuff, and it's like I get it, but that's why they have to work with. They can't just go in and remake every single one of the characters to look modern. Like it would take way too much time, and at that point you're just making you're doing a remake. You're just doing a remake. Remaster, which you've got to balance the time. I mean, at the end of the day, like these are three massive games, like like literally massive. Like they're hundreds of hours. They span whole cities. There's only so much they can sort of tweak and fine tune in a reasonable amount of time, especially for a package which is, in my opinion, I think it's worth it. I think it's worth the 60 to like. I think it's worth the full price game for all three of these. Absolutely. The amount of work that they've done to it. So my worry when we first heard about like the rumors of this, I thought, they're just gonna throw in RTX over the top of it and call it a remaster. Like that was the worry, but they've sort of gone above and beyond, like retouching the textures and making everything 60 FPS. Looks all consistent across all three games. There's a lot of work done on this. This isn't an overnight thing. And to argue that they could have done more, it looked consistent over the three games.
Right.
That takes a lot of man hours, because you got to be comparing against three different video games, let alone what's in. If you think about how big those games are, in today's world they're not as big, but if you're going to pay the team to go in and get that amount of hours of gameplay, because you still got to test it all,
right?
So it's a big long game. No,
I think this is cool. I think it's great.
People don't know when they got a good thing. This is a good thing, and they need to deal with it.
But they'll complain about it and then they'll all buy it anyway, because that's what they do.
That's true. And then we'll talk about it, and then people will watch us talking about
how good the sales were, and then we're like, this is what happened. But it actually reminds me of another sort of sub story that came up a couple of days ago. But the we were complaining about like Switch Online stuff, like the Switch Online expansion pack, and how much more expensive it is, and like it's probably a bit too much almost, especially the controllers that cost like $50 each. Those controllers sold out everywhere, worldwide, gone. $50 each. Already on eBay for $120 for resale. Yep, scalpers are already at it. This is a great example. Like everyone was complaining about that service. Everyone was complaining about how too expensive the controllers were, rightfully so. They all went out and bought it. So
laugh into the bank. Yeah. Nintendo just laugh into the bank.
Exactly. Like you prove their point just over and over and over again. And it's like, this is
what you want. Right. Yeah. You don't like it, but this is what you want.
Yeah.
Like
it was funny. Like,
they might as well just come out and say that. They might as well.
Right.
They don't need to spend any effort, energy, or money trying to make things look better than it is. They can be totally honest and just be like, "We're going to do this. You're going to buy it. We know you're going to buy it. Good luck. Good luck trying to get hold of it because we're only going to make X amount.
Right.
Because that way we make the most profit."
And this is Nintendo in a nutshell. Like they're geniuses when it comes to this sort of stuff. Like the forced like limitation of everything, like making everything special, like just sells everything out. It's like it's great. Like they're really clever at doing this. As much as like I ethically think it's wrong, from a business standpoint, capitalism and all that sort of stuff. They're fucking geniuses. Like you can't knock them.
Yeah.
Absolutely
I'd probably gone for it if it's 20 quid. I'd probably gone for it.
I think
just can't.
Oh, the Switch Online expansion pack, you mean?
Yeah. The Switch Online expansion pack and the for controller was $20 instead of like $50.
Yeah, I mean, I would argue just go out and buy instead of buying the online service, just go out and
buy an emulator.
No, buy the classic consoles, like the little mini ones. They're great.
Oh yeah, the mini.
They're great.
Mini N64.
Yeah. The NES Mini and the Super Nintendo Mini are just amazing. Like they really got me hooked on that scene. Like I've got the NES, the SNES, the Genesis, and the PlayStation 1 Classic Editions. And they're incredible. Like I love them. Like I think they're the best things. Like we should do this for every single console up to like the PS2, in my opinion. I think it's the best way to preserve these sort of games culturally anyway. Is just like the whole, like, okay, like we're releasing
package
these
them
things.
all up. Yeah.
For like $100. Like if you're into this, if you grew up with this console, like you will buy it specifically. Like if they came out with a Sega Saturn Mini, oh my god, like that would be Christmas and birthdays all rolled into one. But they're never going to do it because that console tanked. But
yeah,
you never.
Or like I'd like a Dreamcast one. That'd be cool.
Yeah,
some cool games on that.
Right? How cool would that be? But
Mario Kart Double Dash. Yeah, I haven't played that in ages.
I think that would be the better way to spend the money, especially with like if you get an SNES or a Genesis Mini or a Mega Drive Mini or whatever you want to call them. They come with two controllers, wired, but who cares really? It's better than 50 or 150 off eBay if you can get one.
I got a small house, I can live with wires. Like I'm not sat a million miles away from the TV.
I don't think most people aren't. That's the thing, and they do have like expansion cables. You can just like extend stuff. Like it's not the end of the world, but yeah, wild.
So yeah, those are the two main news points.
Yeah,
we got through that quite quick actually, didn't we?
Yeah, I mean we're almost at 50 minutes.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, see what else happened. It's been quite a slow week. I know we've obviously got the Sony conference coming up next Wednesday. Yeah. That's the other, I wouldn't really call it news because we haven't heard anything about it yet. They were pretty specific about that. Like they want to sort of temper expectations. Like it's third party only, I think it is. Which means like your EAs and Ubisofts and your third-party partners. I'm not sure if that includes stuff like Blue Point Games because that would technically be first-party now.
Yeah.
So, yeah, temper expectations.
Yeah, it's third-party stuff, so that it's not going to be. Yeah.
And it's only 20 minutes as well, I think. So.
Okay.
It's difficult to even keep track of like who is third-party anymore because like they're all getting bought up.
They're all getting bought up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
we don't know.
It's a really limited space these days. Like the whole. Especially third party for PlayStation would be either Ubisoft or EA. I think they're the only two that are really remaining, like the big boys, like obviously Warner Brothers and Square Enix. Could be Final Fantasy 16. They might be showing some more of that, but we'll see.
So it could get some Call of Duty Vanguard, Battlefield 2042, although we've seen a lot of Battlefield 2042. Final Fantasy 14, potentially.
Yeah.
So, but we're definitely not going to get Gran Turismo 7, definitely not going to get God of War, Ragnarok, definitely not going to get Horizon.
Yeah, all third party.
Forbidden West. So,
yeah. It wouldn't surprise, actually, like, it wouldn't surprise me if, I've got no idea, like, they don't tell us this, but it wouldn't surprise me if Rainbow Six didn't show up.
Didn't show up.
Did show up, sorry.
It did show up. Yeah, I'd like to see some more Extraction.
Yeah,
that's
I think
one where
they need a marketing push on that game because like it was really mismarketed at E3, so they need to.
I think that's shaping up to look like a really cool game. I'm really intrigued by it. So yeah, I might check out Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Siege because that's on Game Pass, isn't it? So
that is on Game Pass as well.
Might check that out to get me ready for Extraction. So yeah, because I know there's this really cool artist that's been doing some work on it. So
yeah, I heard they're all. I've heard like the concept artists in particular are just really awful. Like people.
I've heard he's great. I know that guy, man.
Yeah, he's alright. No, so, it was like I was preparing all my images, like potential images. Like I was creating a list of like what could be released not too long ago, and just going through all the concepts. Just like Jesus, like there was a lot of work done on this. So it's kind of it's been interesting, but I think it's probably going to pan out at around like 15 to 25 sort of concepts, which we're going to be able to release, which is pretty cool.
And can you? I don't know if you can say how long you've been working on it.
Yeah, I've been on it for a year and a half. So
a year and a half.
Yeah.
Okay.
And there was obviously like a whole range of concept artists on it before me as well. So. But
okay.
Quite a big concept art team actually. Probably the biggest I've worked with. It was like 5 of us consistently. People switching it now. But yeah.
Interesting. That's interesting that a concept artist can be working so soon up to like the release of a game. To me, I'm thinking like because I don't don't know that side of the industry very well.
It gets really finite.
It's like before production.
Yeah, a lot of people think that. A lot of people think, oh, okay, concept art is like in pre-production, and then as soon as the game starts getting made, like concept art is
like
go somewhere else.
Gone. Yeah,
but it's not like
anymore.
that. Yeah, it's not like that anymore because like the way that we design stuff now, especially in levels and things like that, where you design the game in grey boxes pretty much to get proper line of sight if it's fun. Like you test everything out and then you light the grey boxes, so it's like okay, it's in the dark. Like is it all working? If it's working with all the shapes that you put in, then you get concept artists to paint over the top of that to sort of say, okay, now this is how you're going to make it look pretty. This is how it's going to look because like the level's been designed, so like you've really got to focus in on that. But yeah, so what that means basically from a layman's perspective is that you're working on the game all the way through production. Like whenever something, like if they need to tweak anything or like if there's a new grenade design or something that comes about, like you need to sort of, work on that on the fly as much as you can. But yeah, there's other stuff as well, like post-release stuff, you could be working on that, or like if there's another project in the works or whatever, like there's a load of like reasons why you could be stuck on one project all the way up until release. But it's a lot more common these days. Because
you did some work with Watch Dogs Legion, you did some of the key art stuff for that later on, didn't you?
Did key art. Legion was weird because like finished production, we didn't finish production, but while I was on production, I was working on the base game, and then I switched over to like stuff. Once the game was almost green lit, sort of gone gold, then I started working on stuff which would become like post-release DLC stuff, like the season pass stuff. You work on that for a little bit, and then I also worked on the key art stuff for the actual release of the base game. So I worked on a few different factors of that. So it's sort of strange to try and explain that. It's like people that aren't in the industry, I guess, but it's not like cynical or anything like that. It's like, they're thinking about DLC stuff. It's like, you've got to, man.
You've got to think about DLC, while you're making the game, for sure.
There's no way, because back in the day, the way that it worked was, back in the good old days, as the PC market would say, the way games used to be made was that they used to make a game and then wait 6 months and be like, oh wow, this game's selling really well, we should make an expansion pack, and then they start working on an expansion, and they release that 2 years later. That is not how retention works in 2021. It's just not. Like, this is the reality of it. Like, we've got to work on this stuff before it's released. And not just at Ubisoft, not any third party. Like, every single company does this. Like, Ghost of Tsushima, do you seriously think that Iki Island wasn't being worked on before that game was released? You're crazy if you think that they weren't. Like, you're actually crazy. Like, that is not... That is not
all right, Vin, calm down. Gosh.
Right. Yeah, but there's a lot of people that think like that. They're still in that mindset of like, oh, okay, or how, like, they're planning, they're scheming to make more money before the game comes out. It's like, well, yeah, that's exactly what they're doing. Like, they're a business. Yeah. Like, what do you think?
They're a company making money for profit. Yeah. What do you think's gonna happen? Yeah, it's interesting. It's not like they're not like just artists that are just waiting around to see if people like it or not, and then wait to make their next move. People, they need to make sure that assets of the company are working on the most profitable things all year round, all the time. So
especially if the game is successful. That's the main thing, because if the game does do well and it takes off and it explodes, and then suddenly, like, okay, we're dropping this new section of the game for you, and people are like, oh shit, this is awesome, sort of thing, and then they carry on playing and they love it and they enjoy it, and then even more stuff comes, and they're just this snowball effect happens where they're just like, oh cool, this game is really active. Like, they'll say that a lot. Like, oh, the game's dead. Like, you'll hear that a lot as well from gamers when there isn't enough content coming. And the reason is because they weren't expecting the game to be successful, and now they're sort of like playing catch up. So they've got to prepare for that just in case, because if it does take off, then they need to be ready for it, because
with some stuff to hit the ground.
Because the opposite happens all the time. The opposite happens all the time. They make stuff ready for post-release. The game absolutely tanks, and then they cancel it, because they're just like, the game's not really doing well. We might as well just not like spend the money on the R&D or the Q&A to polish this stuff up. Just scrap it. Like, don't include it. We'll just move off on to the next project. Happens all the time.
And the bigger the company, I suppose, the more cost effective it is to do that. When you've got multiple plates spinning, you can drop a plate and get those people onto another plate, because so that's interesting. But and then, that's what gives the people what they want the most efficiently, doesn't it? Because that means that the stuff that people enjoy is successful, and the stuff that people don't enjoy isn't successful. So case in point, Splinter Cell. People didn't enjoy that because they progressively bought less and less copies of each version of the game until it wasn't as cost effective as other games.
It's funny. I saw a tweet the other day. I might have sent it to you at some point, but there was a games journalist that was working at IGN, or like they might have left IGN or something, but they were saying, I hope that Ubisoft don't do with Splinter Cell what they've done with Assassin's Creed. And someone replied to them saying, what, be ultra successful and be like sell a load of copies sort of thing? It's like, yes, thank you. Like, finally.
You don't want them to be successful? What? Right. What do you mean?
It's like, and as much as people complain about all this sort of stuff, it's sort of like, at the end of the day, these are companies. They are trying to make money. That's why I don't, like, I groan at, like, Nintendo fans, like, more than I groan at Nintendo themselves, because Nintendo are geniuses, like, the way that they market stuff and they're selling stuff. But, like,
they're like the evil villain that no one can see. They just look like,
it's fantastic. It's great.
They've got, like, the mask on, they've got the stripy jumper, they've got the swag bag, but everyone just thinks they look like Mario, basically.
And it's all happy fun times and games and stuff, and it's just like, no, they're selling you microtransactions, they're selling you DLC, you're eating this stuff up and you don't even realize it. It's just the other companies are just not as good at the marketing side of that, but they're all doing the same stuff. But it's very strange how people have these weird sort of mindsets towards certain companies, even though they're doing very, very similar things, and the practices are the same. Like, it's crazy. Like, The Last of Us Part 1 is this world revered game, yet it has pay to win elements in its online stuff, but no one minds. But if other companies did it, then it'll be the end of the world.
That's very a good point. Yeah, that's interesting. And then Last of Us 2 is a whole nother bucket of worms.
Yeah, great game, terrible story.
Yeah,
that's how I sort of land on it. But I mean, I don't know. I mean, the gameplay could probably be seen as bad. It's just the story sort of carries Last of Us Part 1. And when the story collapsed from Part 2, it's just like the whole thing was just like, it's a bit of a drag.
Well, for me, it never really got going, the story. I mean, I say that, I would compare, I'm still going to get into Last of Us 2 now. It was weirdly compelling, like I felt compelled to play the game. It's just my enjoyment was mixed the whole way through.
Like, it wasn't an enjoyable experience, that's why.
Yeah, it's pretty weird.
It was an experience, but it wasn't enjoyable. Like, it just wasn't ever fun. Like, me and Rach get into this like conversation all the time because, we're still angry about that game.
Is it like the horror movie of video games where it's like, it's scary, but you enjoy it? Like, you love to hate it?
Yeah, I guess. It is kind of... Yeah.
But then there's the whole element of expectation there. There was expectation we don't really get as much in a horror film.
Right.
I think this is going to be great. I think it's going to be The Last of Us 1 done again.
Yeah. I think the ultimate problem which I had with The Last of Us Part 2 was just there was no redemption at the end. There was no redeeming factor to the story. Like, they were having all these horrible things happen only to end it on a horrible thing. Like, it just didn't. Yeah. Like, it never really... Like, the... Spoiler alert, I guess, like, if you haven't played The Last of Us Part 2, but, like, the whole aspect of the conflict of Abby and Ellie coming to an end when Ellie sort of, like, realizes that, okay, like, I shouldn't be doing this, or whatever, and they both go their separate ways, or whatever. Like, that is not a good enough redemption, in my opinion. Like, a lot of people would argue that Abby did deserve to die, or, like, people would argue that they both deserve to die, and they probably will in the next game, like, without a doubt. Like, like, one of them's probably going to sacrifice themselves for the other, and they're both going to die for the good of man, for the obvious reason of Ellie and her condition. I can see which direction they're going in. And I think the next game will be all fluffy and happy until you get to the end when everyone, like, dies happy, sort of thing. But it's just, I'm not into video games for that reason. Like, this isn't. Yeah, if this was a movie, it would have been trash at the box office, in my opinion. But
yeah, I agree. Yeah.
I think most games would. To be fair, I don't think stories are great in games.
For me, what you can boil it down to its core element is that the characters didn't act in any way that made any logical sense. Like, they made decisions purely based on making a great video game, but they didn't make decisions based on the reality of their world. Whereas The Last of Us 1, I think that's the one thing that they completely nailed, and it was almost like that one element was the reversal. So what they nailed in The Last of Us 1, apart from everything else in The Last of Us 1, was that the characters made decisions based on where they were in their story arc and their environment. And in The Last of Us 2, it was the opposite of that. The characters were behaving in a way which didn't make sense to their environment, and they were constantly behaving in a way which wasn't true to their own character.
Yeah. I mean, what me and Rach always come down to, like, on that point is... like, the characters make decisions based on what the player knows, not what themselves know.
Yeah.
Which is a weird dynamic in a game. It's like, okay, Ellie is making this decision about breaking out of this cycle of violence based on what the player has learned about Abby and seeing that side of it. Like, Ellie doesn't know half of the stuff about Abby.
Ellie doesn't know.
Yeah, she's making decisions based on it.
Yeah. And like, I didn't know why Ellie cut Abby down in the first place. Like, why was she hunting her down, and then just because she was on a crucifix that she cut her down and then changed her mind again? Like, for no, like, I don't know why. Like, there's that.
Yeah, the last sort of section of the game where it goes to West Coast. Like, that part is just, like, that whole section of the game is just insult to injury.
Car crash.
Yeah, it's just, like, okay, you've... Like, if it ended at the farm with, like, Ellie, like, getting on with her life with this baby and Dana and all this sort of stuff, that would have been, like, okay, like, I get it now. That's fine. I understand.
Yeah, it made logical sense.
Yeah, that was a good close. Like, that made sense. And then when they tried to restart the story again in this whole section, it was like, this is where the game ultimately fails, in my opinion. It's just, you're basically trying to put a Band-Aid on a Band-Aid at that point. and all you're doing is making another cut. Like you're trying to make a band-aid out of glass at that point.
And you introduce enemies in the last quarter of the game that doesn't fit in with the rest of the story, and
I could pick it. I honestly could pick this game apart. Like it's been living in my head rent-free for the past year and a half, pretty much since it came out.
Yeah,
and and I've only played it once, but I still just think about it. Like how
it's definitely had the most effect out of any other video game I've ever played, for sure. Like
and people would argue that is the point of the game, and that's why it's good, is because it's making you think, it's making you have these conversations. No, I was so immensely disappointed with that game that it's affected me this much, to the point that I'm just like, I can't let it go. It's like it should. I expected better, like in terms of I don't know. It's just like premium products, all that sort of stuff. Like who cares? Talk about video games, all that sort of stuff.
And we're officially we're wrong, because they've won loads of awards. It's the most like awarded video game of all time.
Yeah.
So we're really wrong somehow. But I don't know how.
I mean, I was looking at the like the previous awards, and I keep coming back around to this whole best director. Yeah. And I saw a tweet on this like, who do you think should win best game direction this year? And I was thinking, I was like, how the hell do they even assess them? Like, because last year, The Last of Us Part 2 won best game direction. Yeah, they had all these weird sort of reports coming out about how they were like forcing their developers to do crunch, and like they were overworked and all this sort of stuff, and people have been
leaving the company, or
they've been leaving that
for years, hemorrhaging employees. Yeah,
and it's like, how can you say that game has got the best direction? Sort of thing. It's a strange conversation around that award in particular, but yeah, very weird. The games industry is a weird place, man. It's very strange.
It's odd. Yeah. It's very odd. You could say the same about film. It happens in films as well.
Absolutely, without a doubt.
Yeah. Like why things win. Yeah. It's more about the expectation of the masses, to an extent.
Yeah, like best game direction is basically, we also like this game too, but it didn't win game of the year. Like that's normally how it goes.
Runners up.
Right.
Yeah.
Or if the game is really good, and it was really good at Game of the Year, then we'll give it best direction too, sort of thing, like Breath of the Wild did. But yeah, it's fascinating.
Yeah. Well, they have that with films as well, don't they?
It's just true. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. We got onto an Last of Us 2 round.
Yeah, we did. We always do. Anyway, yeah, we should probably wrap this thing up before we get into something else. But thank you very much for joining us. I think Sam Webster just rocked up in the last 5 minutes, which is...
literally a minute ago, yeah.
Yeah. Well, Sam, you're too late.
Well, we're all done now, talking. So...
Yep.
Yeah.
Appreciate you joining us.
Back to the beginning. Yeah.
Yeah, you can just scrub backwards, right?
Yeah. Scrub backwards and then start again.
But yeah, if you did enjoy this episode, then please like and subscribe. Tell a friend, all that good stuff. You can find us on Anchor as well when Chris does get around to actually doing the audio for the episodes. Normally a week late.
Sorry, I've been busy. Sorry.
But yeah, you can find us on Google Podcasts.
If anyone were to tweet me, I would do it that day.
Would you? Everyone, please tweet at Chris. Tell him, get on it, Chris. Otherwise, we'll cancel you or something. Whatever you do on the internet.
At Acrylic Pixel, tweet me when you want to hear the audio version. Like, I've been waiting a whole week. The audio version's still not out. Come on.
Yeah, goddammit, Chris. Get on it. But yeah, we are like almost at 100 subscribers now. We do really appreciate the support, so please keep liking and commenting. Let us know like what you think about the sort of God of War PC stuff. Like, is it a problem? There's rumors flying around that Bloodborne is coming to PC as well, so this is not going to stop anytime soon.
Yes, it's going to start off something beautiful.
Indeed. In multiple ways. But yeah, Chris, you just mentioned where people can find you, but is there any other places?
I've also got a YouTube channel, Acrylic Pixel, as well, where I do some videos about my indie game.
Have you?
That I'm making.
I didn't know about that. Is it popular?
It really is not. No, to be honest, no. I say that. I've been getting... My sub count has been just like slowly increasing every week. I get like 1 or 2 new subs of people that I don't know.
Yeah.
And they don't seem to be in the industry. And I'm just like, they must just be... They must have liked something.
Yeah, very
where can we find you?
Yeah, you can find me on ArtStation. I am at Vin Hill Art on there. You can also find me on Twitter. I'm at Hill4Games. I'm also, like as mentioned earlier, I'm going to be working on. Well, I am working on my indie game quite a lot recently, so should have some updates pretty soon. Including, hopefully, we've got Sam in the chat. Like, hopefully, we'll do an episode with him.
Yep.
And sort of, we'll do a roundup on all three of us. Maybe do like a once a month sort of check in. Let us know if you are interested in that, and we're going to sort of. Show off our projects and sort of show like the progress that we're making, what we're planning to do the next month, just to keep us accountable, keep the ball rolling on it, sort of thing, so it doesn't fade and peter out. But if you are interested in that, then please let us know. Yes. But other than that, yeah, you can subscribe to the channel like we said, and tune in next week where we will be live every Sunday as we usually are. If we're not, then we'll let you know beforehand on Twitter. Usually on one of our Twitter accounts, you'll find us.
Usually a few hours prior.
Few hours prior, yeah. My birthday was an exception, though, to be fair. But
yeah, we didn't have any notice with that one yet.
We did not. Apologise. It's all good. Anyway, until next time. Catch you later.
See ya.
Bye-bye.